Situation update is of 6 a.m., the 17th of April 2023. Glory to Ukraine. Day 418 of the full-scale Russian military aggression has begun. Over the past day, the Russian occupiers launched 25x missile strikes with S-300 air defense system missiles on the peaceful cities of Zaporizhzhia and Komyshuvakha, Zaporizhzhia Oblast, and Snihurivka, Mykolayiv Oblast. Moreover, the enemy launched 42x airstrikes and conducted 46x MLRS attacks that targeted civilian infrastructure and Ukrainian Defense Forces. The attacks caused casualties among civilian population and damage to residential buildings, educational institutions, hospitals, churches and other civilian infrastructure. The Russian aggressor continues to use terror tactics. The threat of missile and air strikes remains high across Ukraine. Despite heavy losses, the Russian Federation does not give up on plans to occupy our territory. The adversary continues to focus its main efforts on offensive actions on Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Mar'yinka axes. Russian forces make active use of fixed and rotary-wing aircraft. Heavy fighting continues in Bakhmut and Mar'yinka, where Ukrainian defenders repelled more than 60x enemy attacks during the day. Volyn, Policia, Zaporizhzhia and Slobozhzhia axes. No signs of the formation of enemy offensive groups detected. During the past day, the Russian invaders shelled Svesa, Shaligin, Bunyakine, Bilopilya, Iskryskivshina, Shpyl, Volfin, Unikivka, Basivka, and Vlika Pisarivka, Sumy Oblast, as well as Veterinarn, Neskuchny, Ohertsev, Vovchansk, Bochko, Malavovcha, Zemlyanka, and Topoly, Kharkiv Oblast. Kupyanchik axis. The enemy shelled Novomlinchik, Vorokna, Zapadna, and Kindershivka, Kharkiv Oblast. Lyman axis. The enemy attempted unsuccessful offensives in the area north of Hurahorivka and in the vicinities of Spern. Stelmakivka, Nevsky and Bilohorivka, Luhansk Oblast, Ivanivka, Spern, and Torsk Donetsk Oblast came under artillery fire. Bakhmut axis. The enemy continues to conduct offensive actions. Heavy fighting is ongoing in Bakhmut. The enemy launched unsuccessful attacks in the vicinities of Kromov and Ivanivchiki. Vasyukivka, Minkivka, Orikovo-Vasilivka, Bakhmut, Ivanivchiki, Chasiv Yar, Novodmitrivka, Svibnin, Pleshivka, and Sherbinivka Donetsk Oblast were shelled by Russian forces. Avdiivka axis. The enemy attempted unsuccessful attacks in the vicinities of Novokolinov, Severn, Vodian, Pervomaysk, and Nevelzik. Russian occupiers shelled more than 15x settlements, including Novokolinov, Avdiivka, Tonenki, Vodian, Pervomaysk and Netelov. Mar'yinka axis. Our defenders repelled numerous enemy attacks in the vicinities of Mar'yinka, Donetsk Oblast. Krasnohorivka, Mar'yinka, Georgiivka, Maximilianivka, Pobeda and Novomykailivka came under enemy fire. Shakhtarsk axis. The enemy stays on the defensive. Vuhledar, Prechistivka, Novokranka, Vlika Novosilka, and Ramivka Donetsk Oblast were subjects to enemy attacks. Zaporizhzhia and Kherson axes. The enemy stays on the defensive. Over 40x settlements were shelled during the day, including Ramivka and Novopil, Donetsk Oblast, Chervon, Charivny, Orihiv, Novopavlivka, and Stepo, Zaporizhzhia Oblast, Zolota Balka, Kozatsky, Lviv, and Mykolayiv, Kherson Oblast, as well as the city of Kherson. Over the past day, Ukrainian Air Force launched 5x airstrikes on the concentrations of Russian troops and anti-aircraft missile complex. 4x enemy UAVs were shot down, 2x Orlan 10 type, 1x Alerin reconnaissance and 1x Lancet kamikaze drone. Ukrainian missile and artillery troops hit 1x command post, 1x anti-aircraft missile complex, 1x concentration of troops, 1x fuel and lubricant warehouse and 2x ammunition depots of the occupiers. Support the armed forces of Ukraine. United we will win. Glory to Ukraine. Previously, the Russian Federation continues to wage its war of aggression. It completely ignores the international humanitarian law, as it launches strikes and shells civilian targets. During the day of April 15, the adversary launched 19x air, 4x missile strikes, more than 15x MLRS attacks at the positions of Ukrainian troops and civilian infrastructure in various settlements. The Russian aggressor keeps using terror tactics. The likelihood of missile and air strikes across Ukraine remains high. The adversary suffers considerable losses, but does not abandon its plans to occupy Ukrainian territory. The invaders continue to focus their main efforts on the offensive operations on Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Marinka axes. Bakhmut and Marinka remain at the epicenter of the fighting. During the day of April 15, Ukrainian Defense Forces repelled 40 ex-enemy attacks in these areas of the front line. Volyn, Polisia, Zaporizhzhia, and Slobozhenщina axes. No signs of the formation of adversary offensive groups were found. A comprehensive inspection of the combat readiness of the armed forces of the Republic of Belarus is underway. Certain units of the territorial troops of the Russian armed forces continue their deployment on the territory of Belarus. Certain enemy units are still present in the areas of Bryansk, Kursk, and Belgorod oblasts, Russia, bordering Ukraine. During the day of April 15, the enemy shelled the settlements of Bunyakine, Iskryskivshina, Volfin, Shpyl, Unikivka, Sumy Oblast, Kazakh-Lopan, Hadish, Vovchansk, and Vovchansky Kuturi, Kharkiv Oblast. Kupyanchik axis. The enemy mined the area in the vicinities of 4 settlements. The invaders shelled the settlements of Novomlinchik, Vorokna, and Berestov, Kharkiv Oblast. Lyman axis. The adversary conducted unsuccessful offensives near the settlement of Dubrova. Stelmakivka, Nevsky, Bilohorivka, Luhansk Oblast, Ivanivka, and Spernk Donetsk Oblast were shelled with artillery. Bakhmut axis. The enemy continues its offensive operations. Fighting for the city of Bakhmut continues. The adversary attempted an attack in the vicinity of settlement of Kromu, to no success. Mankivka, Orikovo-Vasilivka, Hurahorivka, Bakhmut, Ivanovsky, Chasev Yar, Stupochki, Delivka, and New York, Donetsk Oblast suffered from enemy shelling. Avdiivka axis. The adversary conducted offensive operations in the vicinities of Shevern and Pervomaysk, to no success. More than 10 ex-settlements near the line of contact were shelled by the enemy. In particular, these are Karamik, Berdichi, Avdiivka, Pervomaysk, and Karlivka, Donetsk Oblast. Marinka axis. Ukrainian defenders repelled numerous enemy attacks in the vicinity of Marinka, Donetsk Oblast. At the same time, Hyorhivka, Marinka, Kurakov, Pobjeda, and Novomykolayiv, Donetsk Oblast were shelled by the enemy. Shakhtarsk axis. The enemy did not conduct any offensive operations during the day of April 15. The invaders shelled the settlements of Vuhledar, Prekostivka, Zolotaniva, Vlika Novosilka, Donetsk Oblast. Zaporizhzhia and Kherson axis. The adversary continues to defend. During the day of April 15, the invaders shelled several settlements. Among them are Vremivka, Novopil, Donetsk Oblast, Malinivka, Hulyapol, Charivny, Molotokmichka, Novodanilivka, Orikhiv, Zaporizhzhia Oblast, and the city of Kherson. To replenish its casualties, Russia is conducting a campaign to support mobilization. All available methods are being used to popularize military service. The Russian leadership promises its citizens high salaries and a social benefits package. In addition to the media, propagandists use propaganda leaflets of the respective content in public places. Recently, the campaigning was reported to intensify in Voronezh.